here to talk about modernizing ticketing. And, the gate used to just be a door. You'd hand over a ticket, get a ticket back. Now it's really a data layer. It's a payments rail. It's fraud control. It's the first real experience for a fan. So we're going to talk all about how that has been transformed with these wonderful panelists. And we'll do really quick intros. We'll go around. Gene?
Gene Tenner, SVP of Ticketing and Marketing for TKO.
Aaron Holland, I'm co-founder and CEO of Attend.
Trevor Purvis, Houston Astros, Director of Ticket Operations with a focus on technology and innovation.
Phil Andrews, CEO of USA Fencing.
Awesome. Given we have so many startups in the room and in the audience, one of the questions is how do you get in? How do you work do a pilot with sports organizations? So Trevor, I want to start with you because the Astros have a really incredible reputation for being aggressive about actually deploying new technology. And so walk us through how you decide what gets tested, what actually gets put to work on a live event. What are the things that you need to see before you're willing to run a new ticketing product with, in front of tens of thousands of fans?
Yeah, I would say earlier in my career, I paid attention to all the bells and whistles and all the new things, which is great. I understood that I needed to have a good understanding of what was out there. But what I know now is that we are looking for solutions to solve problems that we have right now or will have in the future. So a lot of it comes down to timing, right? I think in general, we're open to trying and testing new stuff. And the stuff we did yesterday is not always going to be the stuff that is going to be successful tomorrow. And so we go after these new things to really just figure out what sticks, right? And then to your point of how do we evaluate it? It all depends on how long it's going to take to get set up. When we're trying to solve for this problem, is it coming up in the next homestand? Is it something that we're trying to solve second half? Is it something that we're trying to just chip away at to get back to the projections? So all kind of really depends, but we're looking for solutions that are lightweight, that we can implement fast. We can work with the partner to tweak and mold different things based on how we do things differently than maybe other baseball teams do. Honestly, sometimes it's a really quick process. Sometimes it's like, hey, we need to solve this problem. There's these 3 companies out here, and which one can get it stood up for us the best? But timing is probably the best answer to that question.
Awesome. Phil, I'm going to turn to you for a second because, you're a bit of the odd one out as a governing body, as part of USA Fencing. So talk us through what Modernizing the Gate looks like for your organization. What's different, what's the same, what are your problems?
Yeah, look, USA Fencing as a governing body is primarily reliant on participation, first and foremost, and then ticketing and fan engagement almost a second. Or you can think about it like this, that they're one and the same thing. So for us, it becomes about reversing the idea of I've got 30,000 fans in the stand and 3 million around the world and 11 players on the pitch, to the opposite way around. I've got 30,000 players and 11 people in the stand. So that's the piece that we have to think through. So data to us and how we monetize that gate is, let me give you a great example. We've just turned our parent membership completely free. So now whenever an under 18 signs up, we get 2 additional memberships for a couple of reasons. We can monetize that member in data. We can monetize that member in who they are, their connections, understanding our market, our niche in USA Fencing a lot better, and using that data to understand, to the points made already, what's the products and what are the things that we need to do to monetize our existing members best. So is that extra collegiate opportunities? Is that looking at specific in our merchandising section, what colors make sense? What collaborations with people like Sunday Score, Recreational Habits, or Cara, or Tom Brown make sense in our world? Because that's where we make money. So as a result of collecting all that data, analyzing it in the right way, we're now the 2nd ranked national governing body by monetization per member. The number 1 is ski snowboard. So to us, it's all about understanding data and how data translates to money. And that might come in what type of events we're putting on, what type of merchandise we're offering. And if you think about it, it's not horribly different to what folks are doing at TKO and folks are doing in Houston. It's just think about it switched between I've got 30,000 fans and 11 players to I've got 30,000 players and 11 fans.
Yeah. And we'll get more into the data and how that's being used here shortly. But you've all been in, broadly ticketing and sports for a very long time. What are things that actually have gotten talked about for a long while, but actually aren't being implemented? Right? It's been in the works. It's going to modernize how we enter the stadium, how we find tickets, but just hasn't been actually put to good use.
I mean, AI is the obvious answer. It's the obvious answer. It's in a massive hype cycle. It's hard to, go anywhere without just being bombarded with AI marketing. But it's really challenging too. I talked to an NBA team a couple weeks ago. They deployed a model, an LLM, on top of their entire data set, and they had to turn it off immediately. And what happened was they didn't have their data segregated. And so really sensitive information was available to everyone. And they had to turn it off, they figured it out, they turned it back on. But it's a really good example of, the complexity of deploying AI into the back of house operations. And when you start to think about deploying into consumer-facing front of house operations, I think it becomes inherently more complex. So that would be the quick and easy answer.
Okay. Anyone else? Any other takes on this? No? All right. Well, let's move there. Let's go into AI because it's obviously the hot topic. Everyone may be tired of hearing about it today, but you know what? We'll talk about it as it relates to modernizing sports. Gene, you mentioned on our pre-call just how TKO is using AI to monitor the secondary markets across StubHub, SeatGeek, so on and so forth. What value are you seeing, it is driving today as it relates to monitoring that or even other ancillary, opportunities that you're seeing internally at TKO?
So I think for us, when we have all these major entities across TKO, using AI to research historical data and information from previous fights and previous events. We haven't been into certain cities in years. So when we go back into these markets, it's good to use AI to see what was the pricing back then, what's the housing market, like what is the data and information so we can formulate our ticketing revenue strategy, right? So we get into these battles where we try to find out, okay, this is the budget. How do we get to this budget in this market? So is it marketing? If we're going to a place like Oklahoma City, who should we be marketing around Oklahoma City as well to bring them into fights? One thing about TKO, if you ever notice, when people purchase tickets, 50% of them are from out of state. So when they come into our fights and they're coming to our events, as you know, we travel around. All of our different entities all travel, including our newest entity, Zuffa Boxing, which we're starting to get some legs on. It's good to have that information using AI. Like my team knows this, like we're going into this thing where we need to find out pricing and pricing strategies for Zuffa Boxing. Like I know about boxing, I know about the history of boxing, but it's been one of those niche categories where they didn't share information. Like you know about a budget or a gate record or something they put together, but is that the real information? Is that the real data? So as we continue to sign fighters, it's my responsibility to like, you know what? I need to find out what is this fighter's gates throughout his whole career? How good he did in certain markets? Was it a draw from the other side that brought him in, similar to like UFC, what we do? Or is he just is he a draw in certain markets, right? Like, so we want to make sure we're using AI in the right way. Trust me, we've looked at it. My team will tell you that it's not accurate because we have the real data in-house. So it's one of those things like, okay, we know AI is coming. We need to be able to learn this. Let's be in front of the curve and just continue to grow with it because it's something that's not going away. Like we know it's here to stay. So I think the biggest thing for us is to make sure we're using that information, comparing that information to what we have, and continue to grow with it. So hopefully, eventually, we're able to partner with somebody and we're able to use our data and to help formulate better answers when it comes to using AI. So I think for us, all in when it comes to TKO and just using AI, I just think it's at the beginning, right? And we're all learning together which ways to use it and which ways it can be effective when it comes to our revenue strategies.
I'm going to build on that for a second, maybe go off script, so I'm going to surprise these guys for a second. But as you think about using AI, I know we talked a little bit about this in our pre-call, but like, are there areas where you're seeing, pushback, right? You're seeing fans that don't like certain things, or it actually created a worse experience as opposed to a better experience, and then how can you change that?
I think it's in a niche sport like ours, and remember, a lot of our folks are engineers, MIT, Georgia Tech, these type of places. We get called out on any time we use AI for anything. So there's that issue of humanizing the AI, and I think AI will eventually get to the point where you don't need to worry about that. I think there's issues around, I think you said it, Gene, a little earlier. AI is almost right at the beginning, even though what felt like was new last week now feels really old. And I think the other issue is AI does make mistakes. If you're using AI to draw things, it will make mistakes, especially in a niche sport like ours.
Yeah.
So, much like most humans don't know too much about fencing, nor does Claude. That's why he has a human name. So I think it's just a development point, and that's why I think companies delivering AI products and companies delivering sport have to be careful in the way that we structure our contracts and our business together, because ultimately you have to know that what you're getting into bed with today is still going to be top of the line in 3 months.
I mean, to Gene's point. Can you hear me?
No.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, there you go. Push it closer.
Yeah. To Gene's point, I think anyone who claims to be an AI guru right now is probably just going to be laughed out of the room, because it's evolving at such a rate we've never seen before. And it's really an incredible opportunity for us to learn. But I would say trust can be lost faster than efficiency can be gained. And I think that's the golden rule. That's the North Star all enterprises should operate under. And as long as you keep that front and center, I think it's all upside.
Yeah, so we take that approach, right? To your point, AI needs to be implemented safely, and you need to understand, what it's going to do before you actually launch it, right? And to your point, you don't want all these data breaches to kind of back up on you. But we obviously, and you guys understand this, but how we're trying to use AI is to do the tasks that are done a lot, right? Sales reps making a call, sending an email, doing this. On the operations side, I have to build this thing every time we build an event, type of a thing. So it's on the back end efficiency for us is something that I'm definitely looking forward to implementing within a variety of our ticketing systems. But it's speed to market, right? These videos might look corny now, but the ability for us to turn around a video in half of a day if something crazy happened the night before, right? Being able to get something up, get an offer out with this creative, and get it out into the market. We're cautious with how we do that, but we're definitely using it to speed things up internally. And on the fan-facing side, I think we will all start to see kind of a migration towards prompt-based querying for event tickets, right? Like, you go to our website, you click on tickets, and there's 100 different options. You can buy a bunch of different kind of tickets with loaded value, tickets that come with a hot dog, package tickets, right? And it might be hard or take too long to get to that curated experience. And so what we really want to do is anytime someone comes to our website, we want to convert them as fast as we can. And how can we use AI to get people through that funnel, get them converted, and get them into our stadium? And that's ultimately what we're trying to do.
And I would just say, just overall with AI, is like, I look at AI as just a piece to the puzzle. Like, you can't replace that human interaction. I still think the human interaction is there. I know a lot of people talk about AI as like, oh, it's going to replace jobs and it's going to take these different spots from different people. And I was like, no, it really should just be used as a piece, right? It should just be used as just a secondary piece to what you already do. For us, we take data and information from everywhere. So things that's going on secondary, things that's going on internally, and then things we can use in AI. We can check AI as well to check it against all the other data and information that we have. And for me, I just think AI is just an extra piece to the puzzle that all of us need to start tapping into, but don't look at it as just a full replacement for people with those human interactions, because people that have been in sports and you worked in sports, you know that having those conversations with people, some people want to talk to a person. They don't want to talk to AI. They don't want to talk to any customer service where it's just somebody responding to them. They actually want to pick up the phone, have that conversation. And I think that's the same thing when it comes to us, when we have like a lot of different events. We have like VIP packages, and we have we work with On Location. A lot of people want to have that interaction. Like, we've learned that lesson that, hey, you can't just do this online. It's not gonna be effective the way you do, because we've also had customers at events come up to us like, I didn't even know this was a thing. Like, I didn't know I can purchase this. So one of the big things we implemented was, yes, we have a table in front where people help out and they can walk up and ask about the VIP experience, but we also, they're starting to tap into AI as well On Location as well. So for us, I think we all should be looking at it as a piece, and it's gonna take some time. It's not gonna be overnight. It's gonna take some time for it to be like perfected. So, but I think we all can be involved in helping it evolve into the layers that it needs to be so it can be effective for everyone.
Yeah.
At the same time, on the positive side, sorry to go again, but like on the positive side, we're a small organization, and I'm sure everyone here is saying, yeah, my team's constrained by people as well. That's where it can be really positive. Of you can augment in fact, I would argue we're adding more people to USA Fencing's headcount because of AI and the more expansive our business has been able to become, rather than the other way around. So I think Gene's exactly right. It's going to be an evolution. I actually don't think in our industry of sport, this conference doesn't even exist likely without AI in the last couple of years. So it's actually creating jobs, not diminishing jobs in sport.
Yeah. To that note, and something you guys touched on, and Trevor, I'll go back to you for this one, but your sales reps, right? Historically, in sports, they have a script, they have a call sheet, they're going down that. Have you seen personalization increase by leveraging AI internally? Are they more effective? Are they more efficient? And then obviously, downstream of that, how does that continue to change? It's obviously been reported that web traffic is down on primary ticketing platforms. A lot of stuff is coming through LLMs these days. And maybe, Aaron, you could touch on a little bit of that too, just building in this space. So, kind of twofold. How does that play out?
Yeah, so one way we're using AI is to really effectively warm up our sales leads for our reps. Phil touched on it. We have a very lean organization. I imagine some of us do also. Very small ticketing department, very small sales department for a top 5 revenue team. We have under 20 sales reps. So the sales reps need to be able to service and get people that are going to be able to buy or want to buy. Those are the most important conversations for them to have. So we'll take an AI data agent and layer it on top of our structured data. An example is abandoned cart, right? So if someone's looking at a full season package for us and they leave, they're going to get an email the next day that's personalized with information that we have about them. And it's going to say something like, hey, we want you back. We saw you came into this game. The Angels are coming into town. Those types of things. We have these big games coming up or these big theme events. Hey, if we saw that they've bought a theme pass or something like that. And it's really just using that to warm up the lead. And then when we get a response, then the rep jumps in. So it's more of that than using AI to craft and get through a conversation. I think we need to be careful with that too, because I think our fans would call us out if they heard us kind of using a robotic type of a script. But it's something that we're using it for call analysis, right? Hey, did the rep say the right thing? Could they have said this, this, or this? So we're dabbling into it. We don't have like this overarching AI system that we integrate and use through everything, but we're taking bits and pieces and starting to get the ball rolling on some of this stuff. And yeah, I mean, that's helping us. But to your point, ticket sales seem to be down, and Aaron's doing a lot of cool stuff to kind of combat that, I think, so.
Yeah, I mean, the coolest AI innovation in terms of like effectiveness and hard ROI we've seen is a team told us their reps spend 70% of their time logging into the CRM, just logging data back into the CRM. So like what Trevor's talking about here, just logging the call, servicing notes, deploying that directly into the CRM moves your reps back to actually selling. I mean, the Arizona Diamondbacks, they put Suites and Premium online with us for the first time. 83% of buyers were new to file, meaning they'd never purchased anything from the team before. So that right away tells us not only is there an audience out there that doesn't want to talk to people, they may pay more not to talk to someone. We also get abandoned cart data. We do all of like Harris Blitzer's online premium. They're hooking that abandoned cart data into their data environment to not only enrich the data and retarget, like what Trevor's talking about, but create audience segments and lookalike audiences to actually drive more new fans into the database. And what happens is teams go on a championship run and they have a 3 million person database that just kind of gets more stale year over year. So I think there's really cool automation opportunity and AI opportunity on the demand generation side that if you can plug it into your workflows, that's a really kind of near-term opportunity right now. But to like what Trevor said, it's about finding like a really narrow use case that's controllable and specific, alignment across the org with one scorecard, what does a win look like, and then deploying it, learning it. But piloting AI, piloting in general, it's not a strategy. It's a tool for learning. And then you learn, you iterate, and you deploy again. So yeah, those are some cool things we've seen recently.
Cool. Let's shift gears a little bit to the gate itself, right? And Trevor, I'll go back to you on this one because we talked previously, but now you have me updating my number that at your last 50% of people that are biometric ingress at Minute Maid, and that's climbing, it sounds like, week over week. I think you assume fans might push back on some of the biometrics. Why haven't they, right? It sounds like is it a better experience? What were some of the skepticisms you thought you'd see, and that obviously has changed since implementing?
Yeah, I mean, dipping into anything biometric is scary, for a group of people. I think for us, we had a problem, right? So we had a problem with our security devices became so fast that there was a pinch point at our gates, right, for the scanning. So we needed to find a way to get people and scan people in faster. That was a problem we had to solve or look to solve for. And MLB kind of helped us kind of provide a lot of this stuff. But yeah, biometric ingress. So I mean, it's free. You take a quick 5-second selfie and you're signed up. But then that is attached to your ticket account. And so then when you walk through this lane, this monolith picks you up, it recognizes your face, and then it flashes green and it lets you in and shows how many tickets you have. So when you think about, when you have a group of 8 people and you're hand scanning 8 different people, scan, flip, I mean, it takes 20, 30 seconds. This is instant, the whole group walks in. It's amazing for huge groups. We had a wedding last summer. They walked over from the courthouse, 184 of them. All walked in on a bunch of tickets on one person's phone, right? So it's speeding up the ingress, but it's also creating a wow moment as soon as someone comes to our ballpark. So they come and they go through this for the first time. And I've seen hundreds of people have the same reaction. And they love it. They think it's so cool. They're not looking down at their phones. They're looking up. They're looking up into our ballpark, and they're ready for what's next and ready to enjoy this game. To your question, like when we first launched this, I was like, man, this is Texas. People are going to be a little bit more conservative. I don't know how we're going to play this. We're capturing people's faces and storing the data. Well, we're not storing the image, right? It's not even stored long enough for us to have to delete it. And so once you explain this to someone, it's free, it's fast. We don't know anything more about you, but you're going to enjoy the experience more. 1 out of 100 people maybe say no at that point, but if you can explain it to them and after they ask, now I've seen hundreds, maybe even thousands of people sign up at this point with skepticism, and they love it. And if you use it once, you're going to continue to keep using it and using it and using it again. So
Very cool.
Yeah, it's a really cool thing.
Awesome. I'll pass it over to you, Gene, because you're obviously in a different city, a different market every week, every few weeks. You've got the White House. I mean, you've got a lot that you guys have to deal with. So when you think about biometrics or anything at the gate, AI-driven, that would use fan data, like how does that play out for you guys?
So we only went to Intuit. They actually had it. And we definitely had some complaints from a lot of our known fans that travel all over the world to watch our fights and to see them. But once they did everything, they got to the process, they actually enjoyed it. I'll give you another instance. When I first moved to Vegas, came here for the Vegas Golden Knights, we decided to do all digital ticketing, no paper ticketing. And if you know Vegas was heavy paper 10 years ago. And we were literally bashed, I want my paper tickets, this is how we want it. But we stayed to our guns, right? It was something new into a market. We was we're gonna stick to our guns, we're gonna go all digital. And trust me, once we teach you and we show you the process, you're gonna enjoy it. So after complaints halfway through the season, we start getting calls and everybody was telling us oh my God, digital ticketing is way more easier than me waiting to pass some tickets off. And I think that's what's gonna happen with AI, right? In biometrics and going to different arenas. It's something new. It's something new you're bringing out into the public and they don't understand it yet. But once they see how easy it is to go into an arena and yes, you do a facial scan, you walk into the arena, and when we was at Intuit, you can literally buy your food in the clubs just by your face. It's looking up at a camera and it charges you. So I think it'll be more arenas that go into this phase, and as a lot of arenas phased away from paper altogether, no cash, just straight cards. And then they also let you reload cash to card and convert that way as well. But I think as we grow and people see it and they see how easy it is and how easy it'll make their lives going into these arenas, I think it'll change. Everybody, it always gonna take some time, right? So we always gotta go through the bumps in the road. But I think as this panel and everybody up here, we have to be at the forefront. We gotta be able to train people. We gotta be able to make them comfortable with it. Same thing with us. We go into different markets. We get different requests from fighters to execs to different departments. So we have to cater to all these different groups. I will tell you the Intuit one was horrific because we couldn't do paper tickets just for that one, but it was all biometric. And we had to tell everybody hey, we're gonna make this easy as possible. But people appreciated it, right? So once they finally did it and they realized, this is an easier process than me holding a paper ticket and then also charging my food. I don't have to pull out my card anymore. I can just go in, get my food, go to my seat. I think more arenas and stadiums, as we travel, we're gonna see this much, much more. But as TKO, we're gonna have to adapt as well because we have our own internal practices that we do that our execs really, really like and they hold on to. We have to be the ones to be able to teach them and get everybody to evolve and teach them hey, this is an easier way and this is why this easier way can help us in the future when it comes to dealing with your big groups. Because as you said, we have Dana. Dana has 1 billion guests. He has his guests and they're used to a certain way and some of them don't understand technology at all, but we have to get with them. We have to walk them through the process. Hey, if you're gonna have, we're in these arenas and they're changing away from this, we need to be there to help them walk them through the process. And I tell people all the time, is hey, we used to walk into casinos when we did this whole digital thing and literally walked assistants and executive assistants through the process of how to distribute digital tickets because they were so used to having paper. So it's just one of those things hey, as a group, we all need to help everybody out and push them towards this technology. And I think AI is just another thing. That's the next thing on deck going into these stadiums and arenas.
So that's a great point that I glossed over 5 years of my life that I maybe want to change. But we're not able to get to the point where we're at now with biometrics or some of the stuff we're doing in venue if we still have paper tickets and cash, right? We had to get rid of those two things first to get to where we are now to be able to capitalize on this new technology that we've got. So,
Awesome. For all of you, I'd be curious of the answer. If we look out 3 years, what is something that will be standard at the gate that today feels experimental?
I mean, I could start. So, we launched the wallet, Ballpark Wallet. So if you have biometric ingress and it's attached to your account and you have your card attached to your account as well, like Gene said, you could literally walk up and buy a hot dog with your face. That's experimental right now. I think in the next 3 to 5 years, you're going to see concession stand POS with these little cameras on them everywhere. And I think you're going to get prompted more and more and more to do those kinds of things. The idea behind that is if you remove layers of buyer friction, you make it easier for people to purchase, they're going to spend more. It's not going to feel like they're spending so much. If you don't have to take cash out of your wallet, give it to somebody, get change back, go through the calculation in your head, if you just walk up and you get a hot dog, the level of purchase or the level of order size should increase. And so we're all about on the concession side, throughput for concessions, and then obviously we want to make as much money as we can. But it's experimental now, but I think that's something that could take off here in the next couple of years for sure.
Phil, anything on your end?
Yeah, I think the answer is we don't know. Technology is we're moving at such a pace that I honestly think that things like biometrics probably give it a year, and that's where we're at standard for most people. We're doing it already with passport recognition and authentication of things like birth dates and nationalities. But I think it's going to speed up the speed at which we, quotation marks, accept something as what we do today. So I think when we sit in this conference in 2 years, I can answer that question in 3. But I think that it will become normal in everyday life, not just in sport, to have, frankly, the AI experience. I think it's going to get less and less the people who want to talk to a human being we talked about today. I think that's become less. I think you're going to find the way that we do business with partners and sponsors is going to surround how we can integrate them into that AI experience. I think it's going to surround how they can personalize their outreach and integration, and how, to your point, you can take away the friction from the sport fan, or in our case, the sport participant, to the commercial customer of that business. And I think that will become utterly normal by the time we sit here in 3 years. And I am sure I am wrong about everything I've said in the last 2 minutes.
Gene, Aaron, anything to add on that?
Go ahead.
I will say 3 years from now, I believe if the AXSs and Ticketmasters of the world don't adapt to this new AI culture, a new ticketing platform could come into play. It's a lot of ticketing platforms I've seen overseas. They're working on it. They're already in the AI space. But as we grow and everyone, like the industry grows, people are looking to not just get out of these Ticketmaster AXS deals. And we're looking for a platform that fits everything that we need. So as you know, like AXS has things that we like and we don't like. Ticketmaster the same way. But so I wouldn't be shocked if I see another ticketing platform come into play and interrupt the market a little bit. So,
yeah, I mean, I think we're all paddling into the most massive wave that's going to crash over the course of the next 3 to 5 years. And I think, modern consumer web interfaces are going to be obsolete. I mean, people are already shopping on LLMs. What do you need in an LLM to buy a ticket? You need price, location, benefits. That's it. And that's already happening. All the ticketing systems are moving there quickly. But I think to expand on your point a bit, I see the future as not one ticketing system. What you're seeing right now is the NFL's taking this on their own. The Masters just took it on their own. That is going to continue. And I think what you're going to see is maybe the first AI ticketing native system. And it's going to be different for every property. It's going to be different for every league, because the UFC is very different than the Astros, very different than USA Fencing. All of these organizations have an opportunity now, whether it be vibe coding or adaptive, one-to-one generative products, to design the consumer experience that they want their fans to have. And it's so different from one-to-one. You don't have to make a one-size-fits-all ticketing system try to fit your business. And I think that's the coolest thing that's taking shape right now.
Awesome. Well, we can leave it there. Right on time. Guys, thank you so much. Thank you all.